drug wars, and to escape.
Why is this in black and white? How old is James Harden? James Harden is 35 years old. Get this black and white out of here. And also, James Harden needed that beard. I'm glad he got the beard. Shout out to him. He looked a little crazy, though.
Perfect ball control and silky dribbling.
Oh, God. Got me like this. Nigga, I'm subbing out.
Believe me when I say I'ma pull up when the stage drops. Believe me when I say she don't look good.
Yo, what it is, TDC? It's your boy Srotonn here, but you can call me Tone. Listen. Shout out to my dog Andy Lake for sending me this. How good was prime James Harden actually? Now, I'm gonna be honest. I grew up during the era of James Harden. Full stop. I was kind of a hater. And when he put the Clippers out, we put Lob City out, I was definitely hating, man. But let's go, man.
I think what you're seeing with James Harden is the same. You know,
he was an amazing scorer.
Off the whim.
Oh, he stared at Wesley Johnson, and then he hit the three.
What kind of fucking shot is that? But
he's an NBA MVP, a 10-time All-Star, a 2-time assists leader, and a 3-time scoring champion. At his peak, many considered him the greatest scorer of all time. So, just how good was prime James Harden?
And I know a lot of people actually do feel this way. I don't know if I personally feel this way, but to say that he wasn't as good as he was, to say that, you know, because he ain't got no championships or, you know, he doesn't have a lot of playoff wins, diminishes his actual basketball ability, I think it's nuts. I think it's literally insane. Rockets James Harden was somebody that you knew what was finna happen to the playoffs, but still, you knew what was finna happen.
Actually, James was never supposed to play in the NBA. It's a miracle that he's even alive. His mother had several miscarriages, and after she finally gave birth to James, she nicknamed him Lucky. Harden grew up in Compton during the 90s drug wars, and to escape gang violence, James turned to basketball. But because he had drug wars, and to escape...
Why is this in black and white? How old is James Harden? James Harden is 35 fucking years old. That means he grew up and he was born, what? 1990? 89? Get this black and white shit out of here.
Gang violence, James turned to basketball. But because he had asthma and loved fast food, James was usually the slowest and least conditioned kid in every game.
Just trying to get it
Despite his tough upbringing and physical deficiencies, James loved to hoop, and he focused on becoming an elite ball handler and shooter. When he grew to 6'6", Harden's game blossomed. And as a high school senior, James became a McDonald's All-American. As a sophomore at Arizona State, Harden averaged 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists, and was named Conference Player of the Year.
And also, James Harden needed that beard. I'm glad he got the beard, for sure. Shout out to him. He looked a little crazy, though.
And a consensus first-team All-American. Going into the 2009 NBA draft, Harden still looked a little chubby, and many scouts believed he had limited athletic potential. But after he dominated at the NBA Draft Combine, showing amazing agility and explosiveness, OKC selected him with the 3rd overall pick. Harden joined the most talented young team in the league, with KD, Westbrook, and Serge Ibaka. And
this literally was, if you was a young nigga at this time, this was your team. If you didn't, even if you had like me, I was a Celtics fan, still am a Celtics fan. But I loved OKC. I loved that they was challenging the fucking Lakers. I loved it. And I'm not talking about, you know, kind of, bro, they are challenging the Lakers. Seriously. Like, this was your team, bro. This was your team at that time.
And unlike most high draft picks, James didn't have to wait long for the team to become successful. OKC won 50 games in his rookie season. And the next year, the Thunder made it to the conference finals.
Yes, sir.
But it was during his 3rd season when James started to become a big problem for everyone in the NBA. Coming off the bench, Harden dominated opposing second units, averaging 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, dominantly winning the 6th Man of the Year award.
Easily.
He was often compared to Manu Ginobili, another lefty 6'6" shooting guard who came off the bench, with a similar offensive style and passing creativity. In the playoffs,
I can't see
OKC
that.
dominated the West, losing just 3 games on their way to the 2012 NBA Finals. But at the biggest stage, OKC proved to be too inexperienced.
Yeah,
and
man.
LeBron James wasn't planning on losing his 3rd NBA Finals. The Heat defeated the Thunder 4-1, and Harden was used as a scapegoat for the loss. Unlike Manu Ginobili, who was always super clutch, Harden disappeared in the finals. He was shooting terribly and couldn't buy a
And
bucket.
I always understood is it a mental thing? What is it about the playoffs that just don't fuck with James Harden? I just don't know. Which I don't blame that them losing on him at all. Because I mean, it's a team sport. Come on now. And he's off the bench. Yeah, he could have hit shots. I'm not giving him escape again. I was a low key hater, but still, like I blaming it all on him is crazy.
And defensively, it was even worse. The media labeled James as a choker. But that was a one-dimensional look at things, because Harden was still really young. He also played with 2 ball-dominant players in KD and Russ. And Coach Scott Brooks was unable to fully incorporate all 3 of them. Still, OKC's core players were all under 25 years old. And everybody believed that the trio of KD, Russ, and Harden would become a dynasty. But when the offseason came, the Thunder's owner didn't want to pay the luxury tax, so he lowballed Harden on his contract extension. James wanted $60 million over 4 years, and OKC wasn't willing to go over 55. GM Sam Presti was then forced to trade Harden in what was one of the worst financial decisions in NBA history.
Literally.
Houston jumped on the opportunity to get one of the most talented guards in the NBA, and they got Harden for
And this will tell you, boy, should be a lesson to people. Pay that motherfucker. Sometimes you gotta pay that motherfucker, because if you don't, they gonna learn. They gonna learn.
20 cents on the dollar.
You gonna
However,
learn.
some people still believed Harden was only good as a 6th man, and there were doubts about him leading his own team.
Boy, were
But
they
it
wrong.
took James just one game to shut up the critics. In his Rockets debut, the Beard dropped 37 points, a career-high 12 assists,
bro.
6 rebounds, and 4 steals in a 105-96 win over the Pistons. 2 days later, he scored 45 points against the Hawks. And those 82 points were the most any player scored in his first 2 games with an NBA team. Coach Kevin McHale soon
This
gave
nigga
him
was
all
insane,
the authority
bro. Like, he
and
really
ultimate
was.
green light, which allowed Harden to develop a wide arsenal of weapons. The Beard immediately became an all-star, averaging 26, 6, and 5, and pushed the Rockets to the playoffs for the first time in 4 years.
And when he learned that he can manipulate the refs to actually go ahead and go get that foul, some people don't like it, and I get it, but I feel like that's just a game. The nigga took off.
In 2014,
It was no
Houston added
stopping
Dwight
him.
Howard. But despite big hopes, the 2 superstars never clicked. James wanted to push the
wish they
pace
would've
as
did
much as
something
possible
too.
and use transition as an easy way to score points.
I forgot
Dwight
that Nate was
felt
on that
he
team.
should get more touches in the post, but Harden forced the pick and roll, and he viewed Dwight as only a screener and a lob threat, which were actually Dwight's strengths. But the big man didn't want to be a role player. Despite Howard's wishes, it was clear who was the best player on the team.
I used
When
to
he had the
love that
ball in his
sleeve with the
hands,
little
Harden's
gray
game
X.
looked like a basketball's 6th sense, dancing on the verge of talent and pure instinct. Harden developed all assets on the offensive game to absolute
what's the name?
perfection.
Got
His
his name,
Euro
though.
step was bad when he first came to the league, but he perfected it over the years and made it slower and more methodical. And it was soon the best Euro step in the NBA. The way Harden flailed his arms on drives, tangling the arms of
I personally still like Jamal Crawford's better, but Harden got it too.
defenders
Harden
to
got
draw
one
a
too.
foul was revolutionary, genius, and disgusting all at the same time. But the best aspect of his game was how the Beard steamrolled to the basket, read the defensive reactions, and then in 1 millisecond made the perfect counter move.
Foul.
In 2015, Harden was named to the All-NBA first team and finished 2nd in the NBA MVP voting, behind Steph Curry.
Damn,
However,
bro, like-
many people believed Harden was robbed, which was confirmed by the players, as James. However, many people believed Harden was robbed.
I hope nobody believed that for real. I think he was a good runner-up behind Steph Curry, brother. 2015, behind Steph Curry, brother. Didn't they?
Which was confirmed by the players, as James was later voted as the MVP
maybe
by the
I'm
Players
greater than
Association.
Steph, but
and
no.
even though the Rockets made it to the 2015 conference finals, it was clear that the relationship between their two superstars was dysfunctional. Almost as dysfunctional as deciding what to eat every day, constantly having to go out and buy groceries just to prepare tedious and boring meals. Well, look no further than HelloFresh, who takes care of the meal planning and delivery.
W-ass ad, for real. Especially because, I like that. Out of HelloFresh, they too expensive. It's just way too expensive. Like, all right. One thing I will say is James, I really like Dwight Howard, but I think I've come to the realization that he just might be a dickhead. Because everywhere he goes, he has a problem. Like, there's no way everywhere you go, people don't want to deal with you. Everybody else is stupid, Dwight Howard. Everybody is not treating you right. That just doesn't make sense.
Season that saw the Rockets get bounced in the first round, James and Dwight weren't on speaking terms anymore, and Howard was soon traded to Atlanta. For the 2017 season, the Rockets hired Mike D'Antoni as their head coach. D'Antoni was long aware of the power of the three-pointer, and with the blessings of the analytics team and GM Daryl Morey, the Rockets decided to shoot as many threes as humanly possible. Modifying the 7 seconds or less offense he used with the Suns, D'Antoni gave another meaning to the term run and gun. With over 40 threes per game, Houston broke the all-time NBA record in three-point.
And I hate when people start trying to make it seem like, he just all of a sudden the NBA started shooting a lot of threes. That's not true at all. That's not even remotely true. Like, is it my preference? No, but it's not a new thing. Like 2020 came and then people just started making more threes. That's not true, bro.
Attempted in a season with
people started seeing how efficient it is
attempted threes
to win
they
games.
Shattered the previous record by 714, shooting 27% more threes than the 2016
I forgot Trevor
Warriors.
Ariza was on this team.
Harden thrived in this fast-paced offense, and because D'Antoni made him a point guard and had the whole offense running through him,
that was crazy.
James was streamed. Because
look at that left hand.
D'Antoni made him a point guard and had the whole
still got enough strength to put that bitch
offense
up.
running through him.
God.
James was stringing together triple-doubles like it was a video game. Due to the extremely high usage rate, Harden's numbers exploded.
Dang.
On December 31st, 2016, Harden recorded a triple-double with 53 points, 17 assists, and 16 rebounds in a 129-122 win over the New York Knicks.
7-point game, and this motherfucker did all that. Where are the other motherfuckers?
Becoming the first player in NBA history with a 50-15-15 stat line.
New York always
On January
gonna get cooked,
27th,
it's so crazy.
he dropped 51 points, 13 rebounds, and 13 assists in a 123-118 win over the 76ers, becoming the first player in NBA history with multiple 50-point
I got an emote on
The Beard
2K.
finished the regular season with 22 triple-doubles and became the first player in NBA history to finish the regular season with at least 2,000 points, 900 assists, and 600 rebounds. James was the league leader in assists with 11.2 dimes per game and
Behind
second
Russell.
in scoring with 29 points on average. Harden finished second in MVP
in front of
voting
Russell.
behind Russell Westbrook, who averaged a triple-double for the year. Despite Harden's individual brilliance, in the second round of the playoffs, the Rockets were no match for Kawhi Leonard's Spurs.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook, bro. When it came to triple doubles, that nigga was balling that year. And I think he's done it. He did it after that too. I just can't remember what year. But yeah, the nigga was balling.
Who defeated them in 6 games. On July 8th, 2017, Harden signed a 4-year contract extension with the Rockets for $160 million, giving him a total 6-year deal with $228 million
every
guaranteed,
single cent.
the richest contract in NBA history at the time. The Rockets added Chris Paul and PJ Tucker to the team, and suddenly, Harden had the most talented teammates since his last year in OKC.
Facts.
However, NBA skeptics believed Paul and Harden wouldn't be able to play together because they are both ball-dominant point guards, and that Harden's numbers would suffer because of CP3. But neither happened.
I don't
Chris
think
and
so.
James coexisted perfectly, and the Rockets weren't so dependent on Harden to make every play. Because Paul relieved him of heavy ball handling duties, James started playing the best defense of his life, while still being the most dangerous scorer in the NBA.
I don't think I was
on January.
So I don't think I was watching this year because a lot of this I was in the Army for, or I was in basic training for. But I do remember Paul going there. And I remember like, damn, how you went there, Chris Paul? But I get it at the same time.
30th with a 114-107
And I remember
win
they had
over
a
the
good
Magic.
ass
Harden
team on
became
2K.
the first player in NBA history with a 60-point triple-double. The Rockets finished the regular season as the #1 seed for the first time in franchise history.
Bang.
With a franchise-best 65-17 record. Harden won his first scoring title, averaging 30.4 points per game. The Rockets breezed past the first 2 playoff rounds to secure a matchup against the scariest team in the NBA, the defending champion Golden State Warriors. Despite Houston being the #1 seed, the Warriors' death lineup seemed
Who was beating this, bro? Like, what are we talking about? Iggy, Clay, Prime. Well, Iggy, you could make your discussions there about Prime, but Iggy, Clay, KD, this looks like some my team shit, bruh. Like, this shit looks. This shit doesn't even look real. I can't even believe this happened.
seemed unbeatable, and they were the heavy favorites to win the series. Still, after 5 games, the Rockets had a 3-2 series lead, and it seemed like they could do the impossible. But in Game 6, Chris Paul injured his hamstring and was ruled out for the remainder of the series. It all seemed lost. But in Game 7, Houston played great without Paul. They limited the best offense in the NBA to just 43 points and held an 11-point lead at the half. But in the second half, the Rockets missed an NBA record 27 consecutive three-pointers, making just 7 out of 44 shots from deep.
Live by the 3, you die by the 3. That is not I'm a Celtics fan. That is the fucking truth. Believe me. Do I think they would have won if Chris Paul was healthy? No. I'm be honest, I don't. That Warriors team was just it was too good to me personally. Would have helped with this game, maybe, but beating them, I don't know.
With that kind of cold streak, Harden and company lost the lead, the game, and the series.
Yeah.
One half of basketball, 2 games, game 6 and 7. One half of basketball, we just didn't have the same energy that we had in that first half. Our pace. So,
when them shots not going
extremely
in,
frustrating.
niggas is
It
looking
wasn't
around
all
like
negative,
fuck.
because Harden was named the NBA Most Valuable Player.
Yes, sir.
Finally winning the award after 2 second-place finishes.
Well
now,
deserved.
after the best regular season in franchise history, it was logical for the Rockets to lose some steam. However, nobody expected their complete downfall. For the 2019 season, Houston lost key defensive pieces in Trevor Ariza and Luc Mbah a Moute, and replaced them with Carmelo Anthony, who made
Oh my
their
God,
offense
I remember he did that.
stagnant and their defense leak more than the Titanic. Anthony, who
Do not remember Carmelo Anthony going to the Rockets. God.
made their offense stagnant and their
Y'all remember when Melo was on the Lakers? Crazy.
defense leak more than the Titanic. The Rockets were badly organized and disunited.
Oh, look at Austin
And then
Reeves.
they also lost Chris
Austin
Paul
Rivers.
due to
Austin
an injury.
Reeves. Austin
With
Rivers.
an 11-15 losing record and without their second-best player, it seemed like the Rockets would miss the playoffs. And then James Harden went ballistic. The Beard dropped 30 or more points in 32 straight games. In 18 of those
I
games,
think it was bound
Harden
to go off
scored
any
40 or more
night.
points.
Like,
4
I'm sorry,
times he had
every
at least
night.
50, including a 61-point performance at Madison Square Garden. James had a streak of 5 straight games over 40 points.
Ooh, Derek White? A Spurs
Madison
Derek
Square
White.
Garden. James had a streak of 5
I'm so glad Derek White cut this shit off. This shit looked bad. Look how that shit is in the middle of his head.
straight
I'm
games
glad he
over
cut
40
that
points.
motherfucker off,
And
bro.
in a totally different 5-game stretch, he averaged 52. Harden finished the season averaging 36.1 points, 7.5 assists, and 6.6 rebounds,
Damn.
becoming just the 4th player in NBA history to average
that, 36?
36 points per
36
season
points
after
per
Chamberlain,
season?
Jordan, and Elgin Baylor. During his historic season, the Beard changed basketball forever.
Ooh.
Before 2000, during his historic season, the Beard changed basketball.
Oh my God.
basketball
Niggas out there
forever.
having fun.
Before 2019,
The Bulls
Harden's
was
left
ass, though.
drive was arguably the most devastating offensive move in the entire NBA. The sheer volume of his drives put constant pressure on the defense, and his
That nigga,
playmaking
he
brilliance
mad.
limited the amount of help that teams could send at him. Perfect ball control and silky dribbling combined with
Oh my God,
amount
my
of help that teams
boy.
could send at him. Perfect ball control and silky dribbling.
Oh. God.
How do I say
And I like this team too. Hang on, boy.
It's limited the amount of help that teams could send at him. Perfect ball control and silky.
Nigga got me like this. Nigga, I'm subbing out. And that's my dog. What's his name too? Oh my gosh. Ricky Rubio. The man that they said was like one of the best assist guys. This is crazy. Why is Ricky Rubio guarding James Harden? Look how he got him, bro. God.
Dribbling
Look how he
combined with
got
exceptional
him.
strength and an elite first step allowed Harden to create an advantage right at the
Ooh.
start of the action. You knew he was going to go left 80% of the time.
But you couldn't
because
stop
he'd
it.
do something else the other 20%, you couldn't cover him. Even if everything failed, his head feints and foul drawing would bail him out. And that's what made him an ultimate scoring machine. But in 2019,
I told you, bro, like that. Once he learned that he could manipulate the refs, and oh my God, is this Michael Carter Williams? Damn. That's tough. But his ability to manipulate the refs, when he figured that out, you couldn't stop the guy. It
Harden
was
was
hard.
no longer using the left drive as his primary source of offense.
Nope.
Instead, he perfected a signature shot that was basically unguardable, the step-back three-pointer. The move was so effective that he started using it often, abnormally often. Harden was launching so many
That's a double
step-back
team,
threes that
bang!
opposing guards started defending him in a way that was almost comical. It's a shot that can't be blocked, so defenders actually started guarding him from behind just to stop him from shooting a three. More than 60% of Harden's shot attempts were threes. And because of his ability to rise from any part of the court at any time and to
Damn.
create an outside shot
talking
every
about-
time he wanted,
I'm talking about good contests, great contests.
he reached a new level of offensive wizardry.
Bang.
And with the insane numbers, the barrage of threes, and the second highest usage rate in NBA history, the Rockets started to win games and were actually better without CP3. Harden's isolations were the beginning and end of all the Rockets' actions.
Nigga
But it was
fell
all
on
part of a
purpose.
team
Like, he's
concept.
falling on
And it wasn't like he
purpose.
was just jacking up shots while others stood in the corner. When Harden pressured the defense with frantic dribbling, the rest of the team would move, cut, screen, and force the defenders to constantly rotate. Houston's ball movement was not at the same level as the Warriors, but their player movement was off the charts. Although Harden had a huge number of shots, you couldn't say that his game was selfish. His assist
Then he had
numbers
Clint,
confirm
too.
this, as Harden was third in the league in assists per game. If he sensed a defensive lapse, James quickly passed the ball to a center, Clint Capella, or sent it to
Yeah.
the corners to
That
PJ
was Clint.
Tucker or
I
Eric
thought
Gordon.
so.
Since that
'Cause
11
used to-
15 record
He used to have that blonde shit in his hair.
at the beginning of the season, Houston won 42 out of the next 56 games and made the playoffs with a home court advantage. However, in the second round of the playoffs, the Warriors proved to be too strong once again,
man.
despite Harden averaging 35,
That nigga
7,
kept running
and
into
5
Clay,
in the
bro.
series. After the season, Giannis won the MVP, leaving Harden's historic season without a trophy. And in
Yeah.
the next few years, James changed teams, had several injuries, and his effectiveness decreased, and he always came up short in the playoffs. But if we only look at his prime with the Rockets, it's fair to say that there were only a few players in the history of basketball who forced defenses to make so many adjustments
Facts.
and
Oh my
who
God,
were
that
the
Ty
ultimate
Lawson?
triple threats.
Oh,
Other than
man.
LeBron with the Cavs, there was nobody in NBA history whose team's entire offense ran through their hands as much
he
as the
slapped the
Rockets did through Harden. In NBA history, whose team's entire offense
He slapped the shit out of James Harden.
ran through
Bam! Oh, fuck.
their hands as much as the Rockets did through Harden's. There are less than 20 NBA players ever who redefined how the game was played and how it was officiated, and Harden was one of them. But despite being a basketball
Facts.
genius, James was never and never will be a favorite among neutral fans. Harden flopped too much in the past. He draws too many fouls, which kills the pace of the game. He dribbles too much.
This shit is ridiculous.
He draws too many fouls, which kills the
James.
pace of the game. He dribbles too much.
James Harden, to me, is what he's accomplished. 3 years ago, we said, I would hate to play with this guy. Yeah. He dribble, and then shoots a step back three.
He doesn't always play defense and spends a lot of time in strip clubs. When it was most important, Harden wasn't clutch.
Yeah,
and he has a
man.
rich history of inefficient shooting in the playoffs. Though he hasn't worn a ring, there's no denying that Harden is a brilliant basketball player.
Facts.
Out of all shooting guards ever, only Jordan, Kobe, and D-Wade had better careers than James. Even if you dislike him, you have to admit that prime had better careers than James. Even if you
This was a bad video, boy. This shit was on Twitter. Oh my God. James was big, bro. Like, huge.
dislike him, you have to admit that prime James Harden was a
Huge.
basketball innovator and one of the best offensive players of all time.
This is an amazing video. And the thing is, and I said, I don't know if I want to say James Harden is trash because he hasn't won anything or because he flops. That was, and in my mind, for the longest, I was like, man, I don't know if I fuck with James Harden only because the way he plays the game of basketball, right? Like he's abusing the system, to say it. And lack of better words, but fuck it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they're going to keep allowing it, why not be the most efficient that you can be? You abusing the system by shooting as many threes as you can, because that's the best, that's been analytically shown to be the best way to win. So I guess that's just kind of how I look at it. But we're going to go ahead and get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Till next time, I'm out.